For decades, many people were taught a familiar formula for success. Get a stable job, buy a home as soon as possible, stay loyal to one company, and retire comfortably. This guidance worked remarkably well for previous generations. But if you've tried to follow that same path in today's world, you might have realized something feels off. That's because the world has changed, even if the advice hasn't. We're living in a completely different economic landscape than our parents did, and much of the financial wisdom handed down to us hasn't evolved to reflect those changes. What once paved a reliable road to middle-class prosperity may now lead to financial stress, missed opportunities, and delayed independence. But here's the good news. While certain things are undeniably harder today, new paths to wealth building and financial security have opened up, paths that didn't exist just a few decades ago. Let's break down the outdated advice, why it doesn't hold up anymore, and what strategies actually work in today's world. What the economic landscape used to look like. From around 1950 to the early 2000s, millions of Americans enjoyed an era where upward mobility was not only possible, it was expected. A college degree was affordable, homes were reasonably priced relative to income, and stable employment was widespread. Many jobs came with pensions, comprehensive benefits, and a sense of long-term security. Workers could often support a family on a single income, buy a house, and eventually retire in comfort. To give a bit of context, in 1980, the average price for a home in the U.S. was about $47,000. The median household income was around $21,000. That means homes cost roughly 2 to 3 times a family's annual income. Fast forward to today, and that ratio has ballooned, with homes often costing 8 to 10 times what the average household earns in a year. But it wasn't just housing. Over time, other core pillars of economic security began to shift, starting in the late 1990s and accelerating through the 2000s. Costs for college and healthcare skyrocketed. Job stability declined. Pensions disappeared. The economy globalized and digitized. All of these changes redefined what it means to build wealth and security, and they've rendered much of the old playbook outdated. Outdated advice number 1, get a good job with a pension. In the past, finding a stable job with a pension plan was like hitting the financial jackpot. After working 30 or 40 years, many retirees could count on steady monthly checks for the rest of their lives, courtesy of their employer. These pensions were managed professionally, took no effort from the employee, and provided dependable income. Today, pensions are largely a thing of the past outside of government or union jobs. Most people now rely on 401ks if they're lucky enough to have access to one. And unlike pensions, these plans put the burden of retirement entirely on the individual. You have to decide how much to save, where to invest, and how to manage that money for the rest of your life. What this means is that financial security is no longer something your job automatically provides. You have to build it yourself. This often requires aggressive saving, learning about investing, and ideally creating multiple income streams to protect against uncertainty. Outdated advice number 2, buy a home as soon as possible. For earlier generations, buying a house was a clear financial win. Real estate prices were low relative to income, and homes often appreciated in value over time. Mortgage interest rates were manageable, and maintenance costs weren't nearly as high as they are now. Today, that landscape looks very different. Home prices have risen dramatically. Interest rates are unpredictable. The cost of owning a home goes far beyond the monthly mortgage payment. Property taxes, insurance, repairs, and closing costs can add up quickly. For many, buying a home too soon can be a financial trap, especially if it means depleting savings or becoming house poor, stretched so thin by housing costs that there's no room left for saving or investing. Renting used to be seen as a financial failure, but now it's often a strategic decision. Renting can offer flexibility, especially for people who move often, work remotely, or are still figuring out their long-term plans. If the monthly cost of renting is significantly lower than owning, and you invest the difference wisely, you may actually end up in a better financial position over time. Outdated advice number 3, stick with one company until retirement. Loyalty used to be rewarded. Companies valued long-term employees and often showed appreciation with raises, promotions, and generous benefits. You could start in an entry-level role and gradually work your way up the corporate ladder. It wasn't glamorous, but it was dependable and well compensated by today's standards. But that dynamic has shifted. Today, sticking with the same company for too long can actually cost you. Studies consistently show that employees who change jobs every few years tend to earn more over their careers than those who stay put. Why? Because companies often offer larger salary bumps to attract new talent than they do to reward existing employees. Now, the smart strategy is to develop portable skills, ones you can apply in many industries or roles, and be willing to pivot when opportunities arise. Think of yourself as your own brand or business. Whether you're an employee or a freelancer, your career stability comes not from tenure, but from adaptability and ongoing learning. Outdated advice number 4. Go to college and you'll be set. There was a time when a college degree was a reliable ticket to a good job. Tuition was affordable, competition was less fierce, and degrees had a clear return on investment. A bachelor's degree all but guaranteed a comfortable salary and job security. But the cost of college has skyrocketed, while wages for degree holders haven't kept up. Many students now graduate with tens of thousands in debt and no clear career path to help pay it off. Worse still, not all degrees offer the same value in the job market. This doesn't mean college is a bad choice. It just means it needs to be a strategic one. Choosing the right field of study, the right school, and weighing alternatives like trade programs or apprenticeships can be smarter than blindly following the everyone must go to college mindset. Today, success is more about skills, experience, and adaptability than just having a diploma. What actually works today, the new rules of wealth building. Now that we've dismantled the old rules, what does it take to thrive financially today? It's not all bad news. In fact, many of today's tools and opportunities didn't exist for previous generations. While the road may be steeper, it's also more flexible and full of potential if you approach it with the right mindset. 1. Invest early and often. One of the biggest advantages we have today is access to investing tools with little to no barriers. You don't need thousands of dollars to start. Thanks to modern technology, you can begin investing with as little as a few dollars, and there are no hefty brokerage fees standing in your way. The secret weapon is time. The earlier you start, the more you benefit from compounding, the process by which your investments generate earnings, and those earnings generate more earnings. Investing small amounts consistently from your 20s will likely yield more wealth than investing large sums later in life. 2. Create multiple income streams. Relying on one paycheck is risky. Today's economy is unpredictable. Companies downsize, industries change, and job security is no longer guaranteed. Having additional sources of income, from freelancing, side gigs, online businesses, dividends, or rental properties, can offer both financial cushion and freedom. You don't need to hustle 24/7. Even modest income from side sources can dramatically improve your financial resilience and open doors to early retirement or flexible work arrangements. 3. Be a smart renter and investor. Owning a home can still be a powerful wealth-building strategy, but it's no longer the only one, and it's not always the best move. If buying would leave you financially strained or stuck in a location you don't love, it may make more sense to rent and invest your savings elsewhere. In markets where renting is much cheaper than buying, the money saved on mortgage payments, maintenance, and property taxes can be redirected into investments that grow faster than home equity. The key is not whether you own or rent, it's what you do with the difference. It won't be easy, and there are no guarantees. But the tools, knowledge, and potential available today mean that building financial independence is not only possible, it's more accessible than ever. That was all from us today for this video, folks. For more similar content, make sure to subscribe to the channel.